Yes.
Welcome to Henry's Chatterbox, episode 24. Today's date is April the 17th, 2026. Henry's Chatterbox comes to you from an outside building in my yard in Newport Richey, Florida. We talk about topics, not politics. We are not professionals. We just have clean, wholesome chat here. We discuss a specific topic every episode. My name is Henry Berner. As always, with me we have Randy. We begin with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Today's topic is about memories. This is now.
I'm going to step out first.
All right. Are you going to be back to do
Yeah, I
that?
just have to go to the bathroom.
Okay, so we'll talk a couple of minutes. Randy will be right back, and he does the little advertising things. But please be aware that the advertisement Randy's about to do is does not necessarily express the personal views and or opinions of members of this podcast. And oh gosh, he'll be right back to do the little advertisement. But when after he's finished, we'll come back to this. But I'll tell you, stories from the past, memory. Our memory is a great thing. Sometimes our memory can give us happy times. Sometimes we might remember something sad. Some memories, I think everybody has some memories that are a secret. They never tell anyone about them, and that's okay. You know, you don't have to if you're not comfortable sharing a memory with friends or whatever. You don't need to do it. You can keep it to yourself. Some memories are funny. I've had pop up memories in my head before when I'm around a crowd of people or in a restaurant eating by myself and something pops in a long time ago and I'll start giggling and laughing and people probably think I'm crazy. So anyway, Randy's back now and some memories are sad and of course we always have pop up memories. But anyway, Randy, are you ready for the advertisement?
Sure.
Okay, here's Randy for the advertisement.
Have you done the disclaimer?
I did the disclaimer, but I think I did. But let me say it again in case I didn't. Please be aware the advertisement you are about to hear does not necessarily express the personal views and or opinions of the members of this podcast.
Alright, the first advertisement is going to be for Skit Trivia by Henry Berner. Skit Trivia is a little game that you can play, has little skits in there, you play a game. It's great for bar games, memory games, you name it, whatever you want to do with it. You can buy it at www.amazon.com/author/Henry Berner, spelled HENRYBERNER. Obviously, you're watching the Chatterbox, so make sure you like and subscribe and share it with your friends. You also have Stoner Nation Cannabis Lifestyle Marijuana Tips on Rumble, YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, and everywhere you want to find your local podcast availability. And to follow suit with that one, I have two more. We have Rumble's Wallet, easy way to help contribute to the channel. And we also have W's Energy Drinks at w.gg and use promo code Randolph Small for 10% off all your orders. That's it.
Okay. Now, before we move on, I want to say a couple things. One, but a lot of times a person's changed and you remember how they used to be or something they did a long time ago, and you still kind of feel funny around that person. I'm a firm believer in what I'm about to tell you. I'm a firm believer that you should judge a person by who they are now, not by who they used to be. I just wanted to share those thoughts. So if you're holding a grudge with someone and they've changed, let it go. And some memories are secretive, some's funny, some sad, some pop up. Um, I'm going to share 8 memories that I have, just little short things that happened to me. The first one that I'm going to share was it's something that really scared me. I nearly almost died that day. And I'm from a small town in Ohio, and Enon is a small town near, and they have a lake, and it's typically known as Enon Beach in Enon, Ohio. I used to go there in the summertime. A lot of the people did, and we go swimming. They had 2 diving boards, a lower one and one that was up higher. Well, I always got on the lower one, but one day I decided I'm going to get on that high diving board, and I got up there, and whoa, I had second thoughts, but I went ahead and dove down. But then I went again, and I decided I'm going to see if I can touch bottom. I always heard how deep this was. So when I dove off the diving board, I kept my hands, I don't know if you can see them, straight like this. Usually when I would hit the water, I would take my hands and go like this, and you kind of swoop it upward and get back to the surface fast. Well, I kept my hands together and was trying to touch bottom. After a while, I thought, there is no bottom. So I started back up, and I needed to breathe. And I thought, oh my gosh. And I was paddling as fast as I could. And when I was about to blow up, I guess, or take a breath, I broke surface. And I was, just a panting. It was terrifying. I nearly got killed. Nobody around me saw because there was a lot of people there. But when I come back up, nobody noticed. That was scary. That was a near-death experience for me. That was one. Number 2, this one's kind of a pleasant one. Um, I was living in St. Petersburg, Florida, in a mobile home court, myself and my roommate Tim, and I was still working at the time, and a lot of people in the park, in the mobile home park, were on Social Security, and they got a $20 raise on their Social Security. And I was telling them, I bet that's good. They said, oh, it don't matter. The lot rent's just going to go up $20. And it did. And that got me to thinking seriously. And I told Tim, I said, when I retire, we need to have a place to live. I said, as long as both of us is living, we can split the bills here, but we won't have anything left over if we're both on Social Security. So I decided I need to buy a place. We got to. Well, my friend Charlie, he was staying with some people in Newport Richie, where I'm at now, and he told me they were selling their place. They were moving to Michigan, and I called him or I had him ask them if they would sell it to me on time, and they said no. They wanted the money, and they did that before with someone and had a hard time foreclosing on it. So I sent Charlie back to him. I said, hey, tell him I can rent with option to buy for 6 months, and I will rent it for $1,000 a month if they take that, first the rent off I said they can't lose because if I don't pay them, they would simply have to do a normal landlord. Um, they would do a just regular eviction. I said, and if I would, before I move in, I'm handing them $1,000. So, I made my little pitch. Charlie went and talked on my behalf. They called me or I called them. Anyway, they said they'd do it. And I said, I'll give them that $1,000 a month if I have to eat bread and butter for a long time. Anyway, so they sold it to me and I paid it. So now I got this place. It's not a mansion, but it's a decent home. And that's a good story that happened to me. Okay, that was number 2. Number 3. This is short and sweet. I was living in Phoenix, Arizona with my people I worked for on the carnival. Well, he had some horses. And one of these horses, when you rode it, when it'd run and do everything, but when you went to stop, it kind of hopped to a stop, and it was so annoying. And I would bounce up and down in that saddle. And now also, they had warned me, Bud had warned me, he said, Henry, you're putting your feet too much into those stirrups. He said, if you was to ever fall off, that saddle would just drag you. He said, so you have just your toes there, so that if you was to fall off the horse, you'd be free. The horse would go on, you'd lay there. But if your feet's in there to drag it. I said, well, I don't plan on falling off, so I'm not even worried about that. And he made me keep my feet there. I was about 19, I think. So anyway, I was riding the horse one day, and lucky I had my feet were just the tip of my feet was in the saddle. And I bounced, that horse started bouncing to a stop, and I flew up in the air and hit the ground, knocked the wind out of me. The horse's back hoof hit me in the leg. I had a big bruise on there. And we got the horse. I think the horse finally stopped. Anyway, everyone told me, said, well, you need to get back on the horse. I said, I'll never ride the horse again. My horseback riding days are over. And they said, Henry, you need to get back on the horse or you'll always be scared. And I've heard that saying many times. If you got to get back on the horse right away. So they talked me into it. I got on the horse. And I didn't run the horse this time. But anyway, that was a pleasant story. And I think about that once in a while. It was nice. Okay, where we at here? The horse. Number 4. This one is a good memory for me. I was leaving school one day, and it was a Friday, and it must have slipped my mind that it was Friday because we went to our lockers, and I threw everything in my locker and slammed the door shut. And just as it was going shut, I remembered it was Friday, and I needed to take my books home to do homeworks I probably hadn't been doing all week. So I slammed the door shut and didn't catch it in time. And I said, oh, shoot. Only shoot wasn't the word I used. And everyone got quiet and kind of looked at me. Then I looked up and saw one of the teachers there. And everyone thought, oh, Henry, you're in trouble now. But that teacher was my English teacher, and she knew I liked to write. So she told me, she said, Henry, I expect a 50-word essay from you Monday on using proper language. So she was actually doing me a favor, but she had to do something everyone was watching. But it was kind of neat. That's one of my pleasant memories. Number 5, suitcase out of the tree. I must have been maybe 15. I'm not sure. I was an older teenager. And I was going to run away one day, move away and start a new life somewhere. Well, I knew my parents sat in the front yard. So if I came down from my bedroom and would go out the front door with a suitcase in my hand, my parents would see me. So I thought, oh, I can throw the suitcase over the house and go out the front door. And because my bedroom, I could climb out the window onto another roof, the room that was lower than my bedroom. And so I got there and I took my suitcase, I packed my clothes, and I flung it over the house, knowing that it would go over the house and land in the side yard. So I went down, went out the front door. My parents wasn't there. I thought, well, where in the world are they at? They're always sitting in the front yard. Well, I went around to the side yard, and there my mom was going through that suitcase. I froze in my tracks. She said, I said, what's going on? She said, this suitcase just fell out of that tree. So I thought, oh, good. They don't know what happened. And my mom said, well, I wonder how the Dallas had got up there. I said, I don't know. So anyway, I took it and put it back in my room. And I guess I decided I better try running away another day. But that, thinking back on it was really comical to me. Anyway, where we at now? That
Under the train?
Yeah. This, number 6. This is one I should be embarrassed about. This is a memory when I think of it. I think how stupid was I. I was living in Clarksburg, West Virginia. And myself and a friend, which he was from Clarksburg, West Virginia, we was going somewhere and we had to go over a railroad track to get there. Well, there was a train there and it was stopped. Loading or whatever trains do, but it was stopped. And the back of the train or the front of it was quite a distance. And he said, Henry, this train stops here all the time and it'll be here for a while. And he said, so let's climb under. We climbed under that train and come out on the other side. That is probably, I don't know if that's the stupidest thing I've done in my life, but it's definitely in the top 10. Like, did you ever climb under a train?
No.
I wish I could say no, but I didn't. I shouldn't have done. This next one, number 7, is. I remember this like it was yesterday. It was so comical. I was going to, and I can't remember what kind of beans it was, but I was going to cook these beans, and I put them in the colander to rinse them out. And I put the colander in a bowl and filled it up with water. And I let it soak a little while, wash them off. Then I took the colander out and set it in the sink and picked the, I dumped the beans in the pan, dumped the water out. And then I dumped the beans in the colander. And I turned my back and was doing something else. And then when I turned back around to get the beans, they were gone. I thought, what in the world? Where's the beans at? So I went in the living room, which is right there next to my kitchen. I asked Tim, I said, Tim, are you playing a joke on me? He gave me the honest look. He said, what do you mean? I said, you're messing with me, aren't you? He said, what are you talking about? I said, them beans, did you get them? He said, no. I said, I just had a colander full of beans and now they're gone. They couldn't have just vanished in thin air. Well, come to find out, the beans were smaller than the little opening in the colander. And that's what happened to the beans. So, ruined my dinner plans for that night. But That was a comical memory. Okay, last one, number 8. Um, how I ended up in Florida, and I had gotten in an argument with the Freak Animal Show people, and in Hagerstown, Maryland, and I decided to give him a good. Well, doesn't matter. I left, and I went to Ohio, and my sister Clara told me. She said, "Well, the Clark County Fair is going on." It just I didn't know that when I went there, and it just happened to be going on. So I said, "Oh, good, I'm gonna go. I might, know someone there." Well, sure enough, I went to the fairgrounds, and Emmett and Priscilla the Monkey Girl. That's how she showed herself, and I knew them. And they talked me into moving to Florida with them. Said, "Go with us." I said, "I don't know. I gotta find a job." No, she said, "Go find a job, and you're welcome to stay with us until you get situated." So that's how I ended up in Florida, and I've never regretted it. Of course, uh, we all have a story on how we ended up here. But so, Randy, you don't have an interesting historical story about your life?
No.
Nope. Okay, well then I guess. Oops. So I guess that's a wrap, and I do want to tell you, I wish somebody would start emailing me with some of their things. Anyway, thank you for watching, listening. Comments about this episode and upcoming episodes are welcome and appreciated at henryburner@yahoo.com. Henry's Chatterbox is planned to start every Friday between 3 and 3:30 p.m. Next week's topic will be about decision making. And there is an actual procedure to how you make a decision. And I didn't know this, but I looked it up on the internet. We make a lot of decisions every day. I mean, an unbelievable amount.
I could definitely chime in on that subject.
Okay, then. And, sometimes you regret decisions you made, but next week's going to be interesting. So I hope you will decide to watch. And that would be a good decision if you decide to watch. So I'll pop in on Facebook and remind you. And
Don't forget to like and subscribe and support the channel.
now you know what to do. Just do it.